Welcome back, Pirates, to another episode of Sea of Thieves in our solo guide for every single emissary possible. We are going to be doing the Athena's Fortune, which we're going to start off in the tavern. Back here in the back with the Mysterious Trader is the emissary table. We're going to pick it up, and in order for you to get access to this emissary, you have to be able to get to level 50 in 3 of the 5 common factions. That's Reaper's Bones, Order of Souls, Merchant Alliance, Gold Hoarders, and even Hunter's Call. The easiest way that I found to get to this is Reaper's Bones, Order of Souls, and Gold Hoarders. So we're going to go ahead and get to our boat and get to our first quest. Over at our quest table, we're going to go ahead and go to Voyages, and we're going to pick the Athena's Fortune tab, and out of all the quests here, we're going to go to Voyage of Legends. This is a 3-part quest that will lead us to a bunch of skeletons, digging quests, and a riddle, and at the end it'll give us a really neat prize at the very end. So let's go ahead and mark on the map where everything is going to be, and let's go ahead and head over to our first quest. My first part of this voyage is going to be the Skeleton Captain quest. This is where I have to kill 3 of these skeleton captains on a large island similar to the Order of Souls, but this is just the Athena's version of it. Once all the captains are killed, they're going to all drop the Skull of Ancient Fortune. There will be 3 of them. Let's go ahead and bring them all back to our ship. Our next part of the quest is going to be a digging quest. So we have to dig up 3 pieces of treasure for the Athena's Fortune. So let's go ahead and do all that and then go and bring it back to our ship. There's 2. And there's 3. The final part of this voyage is going to be a riddle quest, and these can be a bit frustrating. If you don't know what you're doing, or you don't have a whole lot of hours spent on like these larger islands, just take a step back, take a deep breath, read the clues, and eventually you'll figure out where you need to go. I stumbled across mine out of luck, and maybe you will too. And for finishing the riddle quest, you're going to come up with a chest with 3 different Athena items. Now we have all 3 of our quests done. Let's get ready for our final map. Okay, so for finishing the 3 quests, now we get our last map, which is going to bring us to our final dig site over at Devil's Ridge. And our reward for finishing this whole quest is going to be a Chest of Legend. This is worth 10,000 gold before an emissary, 25,000 after we get to grade 5. Now, unfortunately, even though we finished that whole voyage, we did not get to grade 5, so we're going to have to re-raise that quest. But this time, I'm going to be going for the Voyage of Legends, the Ashen Variant, because this is where you're going to be able to get a lot more money and rep for this final chest, and it could mean a lot more money for you guys if you guys can handle the volcanoes. Now, even though you are in the Roar, the loot that you get for these first 3 treasure maps are not going to be better than in the last voyage. The only big thing you get is for the final chest. Now, I guess while we're here getting this loot, I'm going to explain why I'm doing this quest and not the Legend of the Veil, which ideally is the better quest of the Athena's Fortune faction. However, as a solo player, it can be very frustrating and hard to do, especially if you are relatively new to starting out at Athena's. So I did this instead because this will give you 2 guaranteed Athena's chests that sell for a ton of money and a ton of rep. And now our reward for finishing this quest in the Devil's Roar is the Ashen Chest of Legends. This will sell for about 15,000 gold before an emissary, and because we did it in a Roar, it's just an overall better value. If you can survive in the Roar, I recommend that you do your voyages for any faction in the Roar, especially Athena, because of how grindy the faction can be for all the quests you have to do. So let's go ahead and get all our loot onto a boat and sail over back to the outpost. Now we're at the outpost starting to sell all of our items, and as you'll see in the right side, you're not getting a whole lot of money and a whole lot of rep at the bottom left for the emissary value for these small items. Your big money is going to come from the Chest of Legends that we got, which is a whole reason for doing this whole adventure. Now we're going to sell the normal chest of legend, which is going to sell for 10,000 gold before emissary, and the ashen variant for 15,000 gold, which is going to add up to, for this chest alone, about 36,000 gold for not a whole lot of work. We only made 120,000 gold this time around, but if you really want to get a lot of money, I recommend trying out the Legend of the Veil, but I highly recommend that you bring a friend with you to go on this adventure, because you're going to have to fight ghost ships, defeat down fortresses, while everybody on the map can see you at all times. So I just stuck with the Ashen Voyage of Legends because that's just a really easy way for me to get a lot of golden rep, but I would also recommend trying an Ashen Lord, or even doing a Skeleton Fleet if you feel brave enough. Those two will give you a lot of money and a lot of rep for those tier items you're going to bring in. The only big risk is that you're going to have to face players, likely because those events are marked on the map, just like the Veil, for all players on that server to see. So if you are feeling brave enough, go ahead and try this, because those will give you better payouts. I'm just showing you the solo way that I like to do it. Alright, and thank you players for being here for our 4th segment of our solo guide in Sea of Thieves. The final faction we got to go after now is Guild, which I think is the funnest out of all of them. So until then, I will see you scurvy pirates on the Sea of Thieves. I'll see y'all next time.